Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice explores the complexity of the human experience by provoking readers to reflect on our individual experiences, thus drawing awareness to what drives our motivations and behaviours. Shakespeare exposes the oppression of gender marginalisation, the duplicity of vengeance, and the careless and arrogant nature of man. The nature of these themes in the text examine the frailty of the human condition and how easily we succumb to our negative emotions, highlighting a different perspective on the inconsistent nature of humanity. The historical oppression of gender marginalisation has impacted societies extensively throughout time, highlighting the added challenges inflicted onto the female experience. The interpretation of the adversity inflicted onto these feminine characters through a modern-day lens offers insight into the impacts of characters' motivations and behaviours. Portia is an intelligent and formidable character confined to the gender marginalisation of the Elizabethan era, who has to forcibly disguise her feminine attributes and manipulate the world around her in order to take back the paradoxical lack of control she has. Besides the lottery of my destiny, bars me the right of voluntary choosing. Her individual experiences are reflected on the shared experience of female oppression of the text's context in order to further understand Portia's choices throughout the play. Shakespeare collectively exposes the patriarchal control over women, reflected with the social acceptance of the Elizabethan era, that even in death, women remain inferior to male power. Portia's character invites the readers to reconsider the traditional gender roles through her challenging the social stratification set in place. Oh me, the word choose. I may neither choose whom I would nor refuse whom I dislike. So is the will of a living daughter, curbed by the will of a dead father. Jessica is similarly reflected through a role of oppression by the mistreatment inflicted by her father Shylock. The shared experience of gender marginalisation highlights the anomalous nature of Jessica and how her treatment has shaped the choices she makes. Alack, what heinous sin is it in me, to be ashamed to be my father's child? The extent of her willingness to escape the oppression she has reflects onto her converting to Christianity for Lorenzo, igniting another catalyst for Shylock's desires of revenge in the face of Christianity. The Merchant of Venice offers the readers a confronting portrayal of the consequences that arise from the pursuit of vengeance, offering a cautionary tale on its duplicitous nature. The desire for revenge reveals how easily we succumb to our negative experiences, where the lines are blurred between justice and revenge. Antonio's antagonistic treatment of Shylock fuels his motivation and lust for vengeance. If it will feed nothing else, it will feed my revenge. This portrays the symbolism of dehumanizing his actions through the word feed, thus challenging the individual actions of Shylock in extracting revenge. The inconsistent implications of Shylock's unrelenting pursuit becomes more complex and morally ambiguous as the play progresses, to which Shakespeare exposes its duplicitous nature to the audience. Revenge ultimately leads to Shylock's downfall, though, stripping his identity from him, with the desire for revenge being manipulated through the repetition of justice. For as thou urgest justice, be assured thou shalt have justice more than thou desirest. Shakespeare portrays to the audience the Elizabethan paradigms by ultimately reaffirming the restoration of order in favour of Christianity through stripping away Shylock's Judaism, the last remainder of his identity, that for this favour he presently becomes a Christian. The domination of Christian ideals is emphasized to the readers through granting Antonio the ultimate act of revenge. Shakespeare inexplicitly subverts the perception of the hero within this play through contributing their actions to the cyclical, careless, and arrogant nature of man. This inconsistent structure invites the audiences to acknowledge that the essence of who we are does not simply exist through our positive attributes, but also how our negative qualities shape the nature of humanity. The careless nature of man is examined through Portia's suitors and the arrogant sense of righteousness they believe they have. Who chooseth me shall get as much as he deserves. I will assume deserve. As much as I deserve. Why, that's the lady. I do in birth deserve her, and in fortunes. Shakespeare encourages a re-evaluation on humanity through reflecting on how these seemingly minor, careless, and arrogant flaws hold the ability to shape and influence the course of events. Antonio exhibits a careless attitude towards his finances and an arrogant disregard for the consequences of this. I hold the world, but as the world, Gratiano, a stage where every man must play a part, and mine a sad one. His thoughtless actions highlight the inherent flaws in human nature through Antonio's admittance of his own carelessness. Each individual experience is significantly impacted through their responses to societal stratification and limitations. The world around us is manipulated into succumbing to negative emotions, reflecting the inconsistent nature of humanity. Shakespeare does this in The Merchant of Venice by imploring to the audience that the flaws that make us human are inherently linked with the societal influences towards our motivations and behaviours.